Hi, welcome to Narc Shield. My name is Jennifer. I hope you will like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I do talk about narcissistic traits, narcissistic abuse, and codependency here on this channel. So thank you so much for joining. And I wanted to talk tonight about, because I'm here to support, and I've been through my own stuff in my life. I wanted to talk about how hurt people can hurt people. And that can go both ways. Narcissism, narcissistic people, codependent people. You don't want to be abused where someone is just dumping on you constantly and putting you through the cycle of abuse, which is mental torture, where you are ping-ponging, you're together, you're breaking up, you're back together, and all this game playing. And basically those games are both parties trying to feel validated within the relationship, and it can be quite passive aggressive as well, and it's so unhealthy, so toxic, and both people end up getting hurt and don't really have the coping skills to be able to reason and work through things together. So if you are in a toxic relationship with someone and you've been putting up with it, and you're not in a healthy relationship, we've all been hurt somehow, and our self-esteem has been broken. We are broken people who need to really heal ourselves and be able to validate ourselves. But what happens is we are looking for someone else to help heal us in some ways and to make us feel whole again. And that's unhealthy. It's really important to know who you are. It's really important to have your own likes. It's really your own hobbies. It's really important to have coping skills for how you react to certain things, to be able to have a healthy relationship and be able to communicate how you feel and feel safe with someone and communicating how you feel. And if you're with a narcissist, someone who is truly a narcissist and has NPD, none of us, unless you have been unless you're a therapist and they've been in therapy with you, can diagnose someone with that. You may see that somebody has super high narcissistic traits, but if you're not a therapist, you cannot diagnose someone with that. But recognizing is awareness. And then, if you're someone who has high narcissistic traits, you may recognize that when people tell you you're always being reminded and hearing the same things and your relationships aren't working out, vice versa. Same thing if you're codependent. Both people, the relationships aren't working out and both people are unhappy all the time. And so it really is about being self-aware. But just because someone has been hurt in their past doesn't mean it's okay for them to abuse you. And many people, including myself, have made those excuses for people before. Well, they were abused when they were a kid. They grew up in an alcoholic home and they always saw, abuse, and it psychologically had all kinds of stuff go on with them. Or they never had a childhood and they had to grow up quick because they had to take care of their family and be the adult at an early age and never really had that childhood. And there's so many excuses that a codependent will make. I can tell you right now, a narcissist won't give you an excuse at all. A narcissist will literally throw you under the bus at any friggin' chance that they can get if they're truly a narcissist. But a codependent definitely is the enabler and will make every excuse in the book for why somebody does what they do. And that doesn't necessarily help, does it? Because that person isn't going to go out and get help if they just keep thinking that it's okay, because they never have to face themselves and they don't really want to. And so they're going to hang out with people and do things with people that don't make them accountable. And so codependents a lot of times will be fake in the sense that they will say whatever that a narcissistic person wants to hear just to still stay in their presence. And so basically, and I've talked about this in other channels, the truth seekers are the ones that, truth seekers, the truth tellers, Dr. Romney just did something on this, and I've talked about it on this channel as well. The people who are actually coming forward and like going, like seriously, like what are you doing? Like, someone like if they're truly narcissistic, they or have really high narcissistic traits, they are like, you're not gonna like make me be accountable, and you're not gonna be the boss of me, and I don't want to deal with that, and so I'm going to distance myself from you, and I'm going to make you out to be the bad person. I need to believe that you're bad right now, and that makes it easier for me to walk away. And that kind of reminds me of something when I was a kid. I was thinking about this because, I'm definitely on this journey of growing, and it's not been easy for me. And honestly, because of things that I have been through in my lifetime, I just like narcissistic people. I used to always like trust people, and I would tell them everything, well, not everything, but tell them a lot about myself. And then I would get disappointed because they would use those things to hurt me later. But so I learned, unfortunately, I've learned, I can't just trust anybody. Those people have to earn my trust, and vice versa. But I was thinking about something from my childhood that really had haunted me and continued to haunt me in my adulthood. And obviously I'm on my own journey, but I was thinking about, I was really close to somebody one time. And I don't want to give too much away because I'm not ready to divulge, my whole life to everybody. But I really was close to this person. So close, I thought. And I'm pretty sure we were close, very close. And it was going to end up that we were going to not be able to be around each other anymore. And I remember, being sad about that. But, well, actually, I didn't really know at the time. So let me back up. I didn't really know at the time. And I remember being outside. I was young. I was outside playing. And this particular person, I remember it was like I was playing this game or whatever, and this person was always with me. Like we were like two peas in a pod, always together. And I guess I went to go and get them, wanted them to be a part of whatever. And they beat me up, like just out of nowhere, like kicked my tail, okay? Like beat me. And I was young, and I was like, did not understand at all. I was broken by this. This was someone I truly loved, and I didn't understand what was going on with them for them to treat me that way. Only to learn later, and it took me into adulthood to go back and try to understand what us as kids, were going through. I had no awareness of what was going on. This person completely stonewalled me as a child and was just no longer there for me and treated me really bad. And it took me years and years, and actually, wasn't that long ago, because it really haunted me because I just could not believe this person treated me that way, and I never understood. And I realized later this person was hurting, and they needed to hate me because they knew that we weren't going to be, around each other anymore. And they needed it. That was their coping skill, and they didn't know how to make that break. And I was so unaware and had no idea, and I never understood. And I thought it was something in me as a child. I don't even know how to explain it to this day. But when we grow up and we get wisdom and we're learning and we're going through these things because we're hurt people, we're broken people, we're going through things and we're learning, I realized that this person just didn't know how to handle the situation. The situation was bigger than what they knew how to handle. And they took their pain out on me physically. Now that's not an excuse to treat me bad. But this is what will happen sometimes. It's like, oh, but they only did it because, and then you stay. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that's not okay. You can understand somebody's pain. You can understand that they need help and they need to, learn coping skills and things like that. But it's not okay to stay and really, you could actually really get harmed and killed accidentally, and things like that can happen. And so somebody like me would, could make that excuse. I know as a child that person didn't have the coping skills, and I certainly didn't have the coping skills to understand what was going on and to deal with that. Neither one of us obviously did, but hopefully that person grew up and, had some lessons in life too. And I don't know if they ever looked back on that, but had some growth through that. I know I certainly have empathy and had empathy. Well, then I just didn't understand, but I have empathy for that child back then. And I also have empathy for me as a child. And I know that as an adult, it's not okay to abuse, even though it's a reaction to something that's going on inward. It's not okay to abuse, whether you are the codependent person or the narcissistic person. And both people obviously need to learn those coping skills, and they come together, and it's like these lessons, but they're not really being learned a lot of times. And so it's this toxic relationship that goes round and round and round. And it's not until we can go within and look within ourselves and even have empathy for other people. Now, a narcissistic person who has true NPD, they can have cognitive empathy and understand it, but not feel that. And so if they have any awareness, they can look back and have cognitive empathy and be able to make some changes. And everybody, if you want help and want to change and can look within and look at yourself, can actually make the changes that you need and have a healthy relationship. It's when we want to constantly blame someone else and put everything on that person. I remember someone saying, and I think I've talked about this before somewhere here on this channel, where someone, and I agreed with them to some point. I heard them, I understood what they were saying. They were talking about how, empathic people or codependent people, whatever, were using narcissism as saying that they're people, accusing people of being a narcissist as a scapegoat, and that it was like some tier manipulation or whatever. And I thought about it for a while. I was like, I understand where this person was coming from. I don't know if they necessarily understood where I would be coming from, but it was a conversation that I was like, wow, that would be a great conversation to have with someone, and I could probably learn a lot from that person. But so we don't want to, it's okay to learn about the person that you were in a relationship with and understand certain traits and know and learn about boundaries and know what you won't put up with and what you want. And that's about learning about your values and learning how to, keep your boundaries and hold your boundaries. And, and codependent people definitely don't know how to do that and have a hard time even, not crossing them as well, because if you are a fixer, you could easily walk over somebody's boundaries. So it's a lifelong lesson for us, but it's not always about just trying to villainize somebody else. We sometimes you just that there are toxic people in the world and they're just not healthy for you, and you just need to move away and walk away, especially if they're people that aren't going to do anything to grow. And if you can't work with them and reason with them and come to some kind of, a balancing point or whatever, and just know that it's not you, and take control of what you can, and that's you. And be able to walk away from something and say, okay, well, it's not really me. This is something that they're going through, and I'm going through this, and I need to work on myself. And I think, as a child, when I went through what I went through with that person, I internalized that. I internalized a lot of things when people were mad at me or bad things happened, I just didn't understand. And I know that I had people in my life that probably, they didn't know either how to probably deal with it and sit down with me and help me through that stuff. And I believe that those people did the best that they knew how to do with what they had at the time. And it was just meant for me to go through certain things in my life to learn. And it took me a lot longer to learn than, you know, some other people. And I certainly have done things to hurt other people as well in my life. I'm not perfect. None of us, you know, I'm not over here trying to be self-righteous and, you know, completely villainize people. But if you are someone who's not willing to grow and then, you know, and can't empathize with someone, and you may be someone who hurts people because you're hurt. You could hurt people and it be your excuse for yourself. Like, you know, a narcissistic person, someone with higher narcissistic traits may need to do that to convince themselves it's okay because it's too painful any other way. You know, they say narcissistic people are just automatically know people are eventually going to probably leave them. They don't trust people and that kind of thing. Well, you know what? Codependent people are damaged people too. And we could have easily turned out very narcissistic. We just came out with different coping skills as children. And we need validation in different ways. And codependent people are fixers and try to take control in that way. And narcissistic people try to get validation in controlling people. So it's so toxic, and it's hard for normal people to understand, healthy people to understand. But when you see relationships like this, or family members or friends or something like that going through something like this, you know, it's frustrating sometimes to support someone like that. You can't shake somebody and make them understand, but it is important to be there and, you know, and know that when you're supporting someone, also you can create boundaries around that. It's like, okay, well, I'm here to support you, but if you're not going to do anything to help yourself, at some point, you know, I don't know what else to do for you. It's like, I love you and I care about you, but, you know, you can't be depleted either. So I don't know, this channel goes out for pretty much everybody. And because in this world, we're all going through things, and some people are just healthier than others. And some people, it just takes us a lot longer to get healthy, you know, and it's a learning process. And, you know, some of us just grew up thinking certain things were normal that weren't. And, you know, we're learning coping skills later in life. And so it's important to try to teach our children those coping skills earlier and be able to share their feelings, feel safe sharing their feelings, and know that they're their feelings. If they are feeling it, that's okay. That's them. That's what's going on with them. We can't tell people how to feel. It's not our job to do. That's not okay. That's not being supportive. It's like, this is how they feel. And people shouldn't be shamed for their feelings, but they having coping skills to work through that, and knowing that they have support to work through those feelings and to grow from it and get the self-validation and get the self-esteem that they need to move into healthier relationships is really important. And that is why support is super important. So you're not alone, and we all make mistakes. Yes, there are bad people out there. We cannot fix other people, but we do have control in what we do within ourselves. And so I hope that, because I know there's a lot of people who, you know, like want to bash, you know, codependents, and there's a lot of people who want to bash narcissistic people too. And believe me, you know, this is just one of those videos where I'm just kind of trying to have compassion everywhere and just say, look, as a whole, we're all human beings. Let's try to help each other, try to understand each other. I know I certainly try to understand somebody else, but it also takes speaking. And if someone's passive aggressive, it doesn't matter which side it's on. People cannot read your mind. They cannot read your mind. They don't know what you want unless you speak it. And you have to be willing to have balance and listen to somebody else's feelings and vice versa, and not take everything so personally. Sometimes it's coming from a place from a long time ago, and when you're working together like that, you can actually grow and learn coping skills together if the relationship is in a growing pattern and can be healthy. So I highly recommend therapy. And if you're in a toxic relationship, I highly recommend going to a behavioral therapist. There's lots of channels that talk about NPD and other personality disorders. If you're a codependent person and you're somebody who's always trying to fix everybody else's life, you might want to take a look at yourself as well. And we're all just here to grow and support. And I hope that in some way, something that I say might help. And I know that I'm on the journey with you. So until next time, I hope you will like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you again. Bye.